All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of Coffee Q&A here on the OnoCoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and today we're doing another live stream that is about interesting stuff. By the way, if you're just joining for the first time, we do this live stream mostly about coffee on most every Monday through Friday, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. And today we're going to be talking about something that Anton mentioned. I think you mentioned it on Monday, and we've been talking about it off and on, ever since. He sent me a link about this thing called Kaiserschmarrn. And Kaiserschmarrn is this very interesting dish that appeals to the American sensibilities in me because they're basically taking pancakes. This is in Austria, right? Austrian origin. They're taking pancakes and they are breaking it up and mixing it with, whatever but they're taking pancakes and eating them. And that's, you had me at pancakes, and that's pretty much it. Anton says, fortunately, I am not Austrian. I also think it's the spirit of the meal and call it schmarrn. So this would certainly qualify as schmarrn, just not Kaiserschmarrn. So here's the interesting thing. Good morning to you, Kent. As I was preparing for this, I was watching a bunch of videos and reading some articles, and I've linked to them down below in the description. There is the one from DW, Deutsch World, or whatever the DW channel means. They've got this really nice, well done video that talks about, some of the origins of it. And this one chef, I think he's in Austria. I can't remember what he's from, but he makes a very nice version of it with plums. It's very well done. Like, it's super nice. Like, this is the dish fit for the emperor. Right. And I've also got a couple other versions of it, like from Chef John, who is one of the famous YouTube chefs. I always like his videos. Very simple, down and dirty, easy ways to make different foods. And then I have another one from Wolfgang Puck, who is one of the famous Austrian chefs here in the United States. And then finally, one of my more favorite YouTubers that are about food. Gosh, I gotta put this board somewhere else. They're hitting my shins. That hurts. Actually, that hurts a lot. But this guy, my name is Anton. He's got an interesting video about this dish, and he offers some alternative history behind it. So we're going to explore a little bit about that. Kaiserschmarrn is already down and dirty. Well, but they make it. This one guy makes it super fancy, right? But anyway, the basic story goes that many years ago, there in the royal court of Austria, there was a chef by the name of Leopold, and Leopold was, making food for the royal family. And so Franz Joseph is the emperor. Franz Joseph I was the emperor, and he wants to make pancakes for Franz Joseph for whatever reason, and his wife Sisi. But everyone says Empress Sisi is a very fitness-oriented woman, and she's like, I don't want to have too many things to make my waistline. And so Leopold has to find a way to make the emperor happy while also not getting, not making Sisi fat and being executed for that kind of thing. So it's a tough road to work, right? How do you make royal people happy with food while trying not to make them fat like everybody else in royalty, and then getting yourself executed in the process? That's always a tricky thing. So he came up with this thing called Kaiserschmarrn, and Schmarrn means some kind of mishmash or nonsense. It's kind of nonsensical according to what people have told me, and it's basically the emperor's nonsense. The Kaiser and his Schmarrn. It's stuff that they put together for him, because they were just like, oh, we need to get something done. Let's make it. Now the alternative that Anton was pushing, and it seems like it's, he makes some good points. I think it's much more of a compelling story in that, a lot of favorite foods, in this case, it's kind of, this is the emperor's Schmarrn. So it's it's proper Austrian, but really most of the favorite foods of anywhere in the world, any culture on the planet, doesn't really come from the royalty or the rich, right? The royalty and the rich always get the best cuts of meat. They always get the best quality product, right? But all the stuff that people love of any culture is always the stuff that they made from the dreck that was left over after the rich people didn't want it, right? So everything, barbecue here in the United States, all the peasant food that we all eat, even like things in France, like for example, the what's the vegetable? The ratatouille. Ratatouille is something from the peasants because they had to make do with whatever they had. And so they have to find a way to make something that is rotting and discarded to make it palatable so they can survive. And these are how these kind of things evolved. And so what Anton's version is that the Kaiser likes to go hunting. Like royal people, they got nothing to do with their lives, so they go hunting, right? They do that silly hunting. They ride on horses with these, they get the whatever fancifulness. They go out and they ride. Well, the idea is that perhaps the Kaiser, who liked to go out and hang out with the common folk and drop in on them while he was out and about, probably went to a place and went to this place, some kind of inn or something, and was like, I need to eat. And the guy's like, oh, well, we make pancakes here, and you're the Kaiser, and, we eat pancakes, and we don't really have anything else because you don't give us any resources because we're dying here in the fields. So, but they have to make something for the Kaiser. So what do they make? They make the pancake, and then they try to dress it up as nicely as they possibly can for the Kaiser. A little bit of sugar, a little bit of raisins, and that kind of thing. So we're going to make, and so the roots of this dish are very humble. So while you can do very, very fanciful preparation for this dish, we're not going to do that today. We're going to go with really down and dirty to make it really simple in case you want to make it at home. And the first thing we're going to do, we need to start off with raisins, right? So we got raisins. I got these basic sun-made raisins. Kyun is here. Aloha just got back from Taiwan, picked up a clever dripper and a Wotan Craft camera bag, both developed. Ooh, Wotan Craft. I'm going to have to look for that. Russell, good morning to you. So we got sun-made raisins from California, proper Austrian raisins, because you know why? A proper Austrian was governor of California. And I don't need to tell you who that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these raisins. It's always good to date when you open things, right? 10, 24, 25. We're just going to take some raisins and we're going to put them in this mug, this cup. That's good. It's a good amount of raisins right there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So we got our raisins in the glass. And then now we need to select a rum. Now there's many different rums that you can use. Like for example, if you wanted to have something very, very sweet, this Don Papa, which is a Philippine rum that is super sweet. Like I honestly, I mean, I have this because, I'm Filipino, so I feel this kind of cultural pride that I must have it. Honestly, it's just too sweet. I'm like, gosh, crazy. It's too sweet for me. I can't do it. So what we're going to do is you can use Gosling's Black Seal if you want. But I don't think you necessarily need to go with something terribly fanciful because we're just going to be soaking the raisins. So something nice, but maybe not too nice. So we're going to use this Cruzan, which is a aged rum from the Caribbean, from St. Croix. And it's a very nice rum, very white, clear rum. So we're going to put that and soak our raisins here in the morning. There we go. Just a little bit to cover. It doesn't have to be a huge amount, right? We're just going to try to flavor those raisins and make it taste delicious. Okay, get that here. We're going to put that to the side. Now, the base ingredient, of course, is the pancakes. And pancakes, if you look at these recipes, one of the things that strikes me about these recipes is that, the recipe they're pushing is very similar to the recipes for Japanese-style souffle pancakes, right? So you're making your pancake batter, and then you're taking your egg whites and you're whipping them until they're super stiff. I mean, all these guys, you see them on the videos, they're all like, if they're in a bowl, you should be able to hold it upside down and not falling out. So that's a great way to judge it. But you want really stiff peaks, super, it's clinging for dear life inside the bowl when you turn it upside down. Once you get that, you're going to fold that into your pancake batter. And your pancake batter is really simple. You can make it with flour, sugar, water, or milk, or some butter to it if you want. You can do whatever you want. You just need a light batter. If you want to add more, even soda water to help the fluffiness a little bit, you can do that. So many ways to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You can do your own thing, or look at the recipes that are down below. That's very simple. So then once you fold that all together, and then you pan fry it just like you would with regular pancakes. You pan fry it, and then you, as you're cooking, you're going to chop. So you caramelize and finish the base. Then you can cut it, flip it over, like quarter it, flip each one over, cook more, break it all, chunk it all up, add your raisins, add some sugar, saute it with some more butter, and then you're pretty much done. That's pretty much it. It's totally very simple to do. It looks delicious, and we're going to make that. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to use some pancakes. Now, these are pancakes that I had made a while back. So once in a while, I'll make a bunch of pancakes and freeze them, and then put them in a bag so that if ever I get stuck and I'm like, I need to eat pancakes, I can just simply go to the freezer and whip them out, toss them in an oven or toss them in the microwave, and here they are. Look at that, little pancakes. Now, these are not the pancake style batter that we're using that they recommend for all of the videos, right? This is just straight up American style pancake, flapjacks, right? So not terribly thick, but this will be perfectly fine for our purposes. What we're going to do is we're going to break these into pieces. You don't need to cut them. You could use a knife, right? We could sit here, use a knife, and then do nice slices, but forget that. We're not doing any of that. We're just taking it. Look at that. That doesn't even look pretty. What you want is to just break it up into pieces. And you know what? You can break up to any size piece that you want. You're going to be fine with it. It's going to be awesome like that. Okay, so there it is. Honestly, I would like to have more, but I only had 2 left, and well, this is going to be what we're going to have. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to cook it because it's very simple. PowerPoint says getting a perfectly brown pancake is an art. Most looks modeled like the ones. You know, that's something that, like, when I go to Japan and I order like the souffle pancakes, what I'm so amazed by is the beautiful texture. Like this is a modeled texture, right? It's a more modeled color, right? But you go to these Japanese joints when you're waiting half an hour for your pancake, but it comes out and it's perfectly brown across the top. You're like, how do these cats do that, right? I can't get that result, and this is why, right? So part of the modeling, like I like to fry my donuts, meaning my pancakes. So I like to cook it in oil, or I like to cook it in butter. Better ghee, because ghee is nice. Ghee is nice because you buy the ghee and you don't have to clarify it, which saves you a lot of time. If ghee wasn't so expensive, I'd buy it all the time. But anyway, these are because you're frying in the oil, and the oils are frying on the like this, right? And I found out later that, you know, the Japanese people, right, what they do is they get these nonstick pans, they low heat the pans, and they don't use any oil, no fats to cook it. I was like, that's what I need to do. So at some point in time, I need to try that, but I haven't tried it yet. All right, now we're going to need to heat up our pan. So I've got our portable burner here, and I've got a pan. This is a little pan. This is actually a de bouillé from France. This is carbon steel pan, and I love these carbon steel pans. I mean, I love all the pans, right? Carbon steel, cast iron, enameled cast iron, like the Le Creuset and all that. But also, I love, like, you know, stainless steel. Like the cladded stainless is great. The D3s from All Clad, very nice. What you want in a pan is you want it to be heavy, whether it's just stainless steel or whether it's like this. You just want it to be heavy. You want to have some weight, some amount of meat there to give it that oomph. Really what it's for is better heat retention into the metal. So you soak the metal, get it hot, and it holds it better. Where you get really, really thin pans, even though they're stainless steel, the transfer of heat is really rapid, but also doesn't hold, where this one will hold heat for a bit. And this one, as you can see, is quite well seasoned. It's very black. Now, you may see these and you may be intimidated, right? Like, oh, you know, how do I do this? It's really, really simple. And people make it so complicated, right? Like, And the nice thing about these debouillés, they're relatively cheap. Carbon steel is a relatively cheap pan. Now, the downside of carbon steel is that when you get it, it's basically steel coated in some oil. So you got to wash off the oil. You got to get some heavy duty detergent and just scrub until all the oil is gone everywhere. And now you've got this metal pan, this steel pan that needs to be seasoned, and you need to get it seasoned. Ideally, you can get it like this, but it's actually, it seems intimidating, but it's actually very simple to do. All you need to do is to cook with it. What I'll do first is I'll take some oil, heat up the oven to 400 degrees, wipe a bunch of oil, and any oil, not motor oil, but any kind of food oil, olive, avocado oil, canola oil, whatever oil you have at home, rub it over everything, stick it in the oven, and then it'll start to polymerize those oils onto the surface of the pan, and it starts to get that little brownness. And so once that develops, then you can start to cook with it. You don't have to think too much about it, right? Now you're just going to cook it. You're going to put oil, you're going to put your food, you're going to cook, and you're going to cook, and you're going to cook it really hot. And over time, it's going to develop this patina that you see on this pan. This blackness is actually the polymerization of the oils onto the surface of the steel. And, it's really, really easy. Now, one of the things about these, I had two larger of these debouillés at the shop, and for many years ago, when we opened the shop, we put these in the kitchen. I put two of them in the kitchen, but the kitchen staff didn't really use it that often, and so they kind of sat there in the corner, getting unused, unloved, and they started getting rusty. So when I pulled them out in like 2017, I think it was, they were like rusty. So all I did was you see them, you're like, oh man, what do I do with this? And this is true for cast iron and carbon steel. You take that rust, you scrub it. And even if you don't get all the rust off, who cares? You scrubbed it all, coat it in oil, fire it up in the oven, then start cooking with it and fire. And I usually will cook it really, really hot, because I want to polymerize that oil. So a lot of sauteing, maybe a little bit of frying, but mostly shallow pan frying, if any kind of frying. And over time, it really does develop. I mean, if you saw the other pans are equally as dark. If you saw those when I started to resurrect them, I mean, you would think you should throw them away. And I'm like, no, these things are these are golden. This is just golden. So get yourself carbon steel. Love them. And after a while, they develop a resistance to sticking to your food. So I can cook eggs and you still got to put a bit of fat in there to get the eggs to roll. But once you get the technique right, it's all good. It's all good. Well, I have been talking too much. Naomi's saying that, is that a chef jacket? I feel like, yes, this is my old barista chef jacket. I've got a few of these. I got a couple in black because I like the black, because the black hides the fat, right? It slims you down a little bit more. But I do have a bunch of whites. So actually, when I was pulling this out, I was like, oh, there's my old whites. I actually put a picture of it on my Instagram this morning. It's there's this white chef's coat that I got at cooking school back in the 90s. And it's really kind of stylish. It's kind of got this V shape to it. One of my instructors was wearing it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And it's got this collar that crosses over. Ralph Fiennes in the 2022 film, The Menu, wears a jacket that's kind of similar in design. It's not the same, but it's very similar. And I was like, oh, that's dope. But I gotta say, I was looking at myself this morning. I was like, you know what? It's cool, but it is very 90s. It does look very 90s. So what can you do? But yeah, the one that I really like now in more modern times is the one that has the French knots. Gordon Ramsay. I remember seeing Ramsay do it, using it one time. And Ramsay's pretty fit. I'm not that fit, right? But he's all fit. And he's got the really nice one. It's all tailored. And I was like, dude, that is dope. So I got one that was similar in design to that. I usually wear that but I was going to wear one of those, but then one of the problems with wearing chef whites is that it's white. So when you're under the cameras of this, then I have to change all the settings. And if I'm super bright, flashy white and everything else isn't, it just makes exposure difficult. So that's why I'm wearing the black. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I know I've been. Power plant says just based on the script, it doesn't. How can you say it doesn't sound? What? Pancakes? Doesn't sound tasty. It's pancakes. Anton says, sorry, but no matter what you do, that with that rum, your schwam already has. Do I not have any cheaper rums? Guess I don't. All right. Okay, a little bit fancy. A little bit fancy. A little bit fancy. And Parplan says the clever is my favorite dripper for everyday use. Oh, nice, nice. Well, yeah, I'm trying to be cheap, but what am I supposed to soak? What do you soak the raisins? Everything I've seen was soak the raisins in rum, except for that one guy who was like making plum jam or something. And I was like, plums. I was like, actually, when I saw that video, I was like, plums? Who is this clown? Like, Anton said there's supposed to be raisins. Power plant says you can get solid brown by upping the baking soda and using a very thick cooking surface that is preheated. Ah, yes. Okay, gotcha. Good morning to you, Andrew. And then Anton says Kaiserschmarrn doesn't need baking soda at all. It gets nice and golden brown by frying butter or pork fat. Well, I think what we're talking what Power Plant is referring to is that if you get the fluffy souffle pancakes in Japan, instead of having this kind of like surface texture, it's very like brown. It's very even toned. It's really like, from a cooking perspective, when I first started eating them, I was like, how do they do that? That's just, how do you get that? It's so like picture perfect. Power Plant says you could try the Demeyer or Debouille 7-layer pans. They're super nice, but ultra heavy. 7 layers. All these guys, like, there's like all clad. We have the D3 pan, and then all clad. We have the D7, D5 pan, and now Debouille is like, or Demeyer is like, we have the 7 clad. The one that I really want to buy is the Panasonic rice cooker with the 5-layer clad of internal, like the cooking vessels, like 5 layers. 5 layers. It's like $600. Like $600. Don't want to buy that. Kelly says, I was in the city of Taitung working at the Museum of Prehistory. Oh, nice. The cafe choices was limited. Kama Coffee was where we went every day, and they had a clever dripper for sale. Oh, nice. And he likes that I have great curiosity. I do. It's fun. It's good times. Thank you. Power Plant says there are several pans that are so nice to use. The best one I've tried so far is the Heston Nano Bond. The best pan I've ever cooked. Oh, nice. The Heston Nano Bond. I've heard about that. I've not tried it. Which is mostly just most of the rust you find on here is surface rust. Definitely. And I think it's easy just to get rid of. Spray pans with oven cleaner, bang them. Yes, you can totally do that. I've been doing a lot of more rust removal with like some of the woodworking tools that I've been restoring. And basically, I was using for a while something called Evaporust, which actually is really very environmentally friendly. And then most recently, I started making my own using washing soda and citric acid are the 2 main ingredients. And that actually works very well and is not terribly caustic to the environment, which is nice. Heston Nanobond will cost you a pretty penny, but so darn nice. All right, I remember that. And then Andrew says that life is in the random. No doubt. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to heat up our pan, and we're going to turn on our flame. I'm a little bit concerned about having this directly over the camera, but you know what? This is what we do. What we're going to do is we're going to heat up the pan. Oh, is that even clean? I wiped it out earlier. That's good enough. Good enough. So now we're just going to heat it up, and we're going to get the pan to be nice and heated. And then we need some butter. So we're going to have some butter. Good Lord. I miss having a kitchen that was all like set up and ready to go. Now I'm going to use like 3 pats of butter. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be frugal with the butter because frugality with the butter, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why would you be frugal with your butter? $500 for a pan? Oh my gosh, really? Wow, that's pretty serious. That's pretty serious. Okay, now it's starting to smoke, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So now we're going to, you can see smoking on the. So we need our spoons. You want to have all of your stuff at the ready. Okay, now we got some smoking going on here. What we're going to do is we're going to add our butter. Whoa, that's a little bit hot. Add our probably should have got a bigger pan. Another pat of butter will be good. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to introduce some nice, we want to warm up the pancake, and we also want to give it a little bit of crispiness. Now we're going to add our raisins. Just going to dig them out of here. So you just kind of like get it to cook, and now we're going to add some caramelization aspect to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of just regular, this is regular sugar now. I'm just going to add a little bit of regular sugar. And we're almost done. We're pretty much done now. Well, almost. Let me just work on maybe a little bit more butter. I love the butter, so we're going to add a little bit more butter to this. When you add fat, add it to the outside. Now we should be done because now things are starting to burn. Things are starting to burn. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Now what we need is a plate. All right, so that does not look terribly pretty at the moment. And that's all right, because you know what? This is a peasant's dish, even though this is for the Kaiser. Then the next thing we're going to do, there it is. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our powdered sugar and then just give it a nice, maybe even, like imagine the Austrian Alps. Right? There we go. That's it. Kaiserschmarrn. Okay, so we've got that. And now we're going to have we should have a taste of it because it's still nice and hot, right? So let's have a taste. Kaiserschmarrn. We need some raisin. I need a raisin here. Okay, this is my first time trying this. Oh. Well, I don't know if this is how most people in Germany or Austria make this. It's kind of heavy, like it's got a brown butter character to it because I did hit the heat pretty hard. The bits of the pancake are nice and crisp, which I love. And gosh, I kind of want to power through this in a very hard way. Oh. I can only imagine that if I had made the other pancake recipe with the fluffier pancake, it would improve the performance of this. Oh man, okay, we need to have coffee. Let's have some coffee now. We're gonna have make coffee. We're gonna make it really quick, as though we're working in a coffee environment. So that's is it not working? Come on, baby. Uh-oh, why is that not? There we go. Now we're lit. Okay, so the machine is ready. I'm going to need some hot water, which I already have kind of sitting on standby here. We're not even going to pull a test shot. We're just going to go because you know why? Because the Kaiserschmarrn is waiting, and I kind of want to try it as hot as I possibly can. And we're just going to have to fudge the coffee just a little bit. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe not. Maybe not. Doing a very good job, this the espresso world. All right, that's going to have to be all right enough. Okay, there it is. The Kaiserschmarrn and some kind of ridiculously poorly done Americano. All right, so let's taste now. Ooh. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. Now, here's where you kind of get into a little bit of trouble because, like, what I really should have done, and I was thinking about redoing it in the moment, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. I probably should have ground some coffee, dumped it out, cleared out any kind of potential old coffee from yesterday, and then gone with it. Maybe that would have been better. But I was like, you know what? I'm so excited to eat the Kaiserschmarrn that that's done. All right. All right, Anton. I get it now. I get it now. I can't believe in all the times that I've been to Germany, I've never tried this. All right, let's see here. Power says, just loves to cook, and spending money on tools that I love to touch and use is important. I hear you. I totally get it. And Paige says, I'd love to be able to get my boyfriend one of those pans, but that's more than my budget allows, and he wouldn't appreciate it. Yeah, if you can't appreciate it, then don't spend that money. You definitely want to get things that, if you're going to get something really, really nice, you want to get something really nice for those that can appreciate that. Like if my girlfriend bought me a big 8-quart Le Creuset, I'd be giddy. I'd be like, what can I do for you tonight? Just let me know. Okay, that's terrible. That's not nice. And just spilled coffee. Oh no, that's terrible. Sorry to hear that. You're spilling coffee on your shirt. Proplan says, yeah, I feel that too. I obsess over everything I buy. I have several tabs on my comp that are over 5 years old. I hear you on that. I'm trying to think, what would I like to buy? I'm trying to think, here's something that totally is I've been putting it off for I think I've been putting it off for 2 years now. And I think I've shown this on the live stream before, but I have this thing from David Arnold, right? It's this, you connect it to a propane or MAP gas tank, and it's this heating device. So you can Searsol. It's the Searsol 2. And, it sits on this MAP gas. I have a MAP gas tank, so it's kind of thin. And because it's got this big head, it doesn't fall over, but it could be slightly wobbly. And they make a base for this, right? It's $10. It's been in my Amazon cart for 2 years now, and I never pulled the trigger on it because there's always stuff I'm buying. I'm like, I'll just put that off for later. I don't know why I haven't pulled the trigger, but I totally get it. I totally get what you're saying. Faye says, I do the same, but my budget keeps me in check. My luxuries are coffee, matcha, and concerts. Well, that's, that's perfectly fine. You don't always need to have very expensive pans. Powerplant says, coq au vin is a peasant dish too. Agreed, agreed. And Cheryl, hello, man. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Anton said first, well, in this format, it is. So I'm guessing it's twice cooked, fried pancakes. Oh, yes. So, I mean, no, it's okay. So historically, if you look at the videos that I linked down below with all the recipes, it is not normally twice fried. Just in this particular case where we're using pre-made pancakes. These are pancakes that I made and frozen in the past so that I can have pancakes whenever I want. But typically you'll make these fresh, the pancakes fresh, break them up in the pan, maybe add a little more butter. I would probably add, after I cook the pancakes on both sides, and broke it up, I would probably add a little more butter and raise the temperature and crisp it. I just like that kind of thing. But what I'm showing here is that, you don't have to necessarily make pancakes in order to make this. You can have frozen pancakes. And you know what? If you really want to be a charlatan, and I say that with a lot of love, you can just buy the frozen pancakes at the grocery store and do this. Now, I know Anton's probably like, what are you talking about? Nine, you fool, 9. But these are easy life hacks to do it. And you got to remember, if this truly comes from the peasant class of Austria, the peasants would have probably done the same thing by buying Lego pancakes at the grocery store today. And maybe they do. I don't know. Nobody's asking, no coffee. No, I had to make it. I had to use it. It's nice. Actually, even though it doesn't have that beauty of the top that I really like, that I talked about, like that I would reject a coffee to serve to someone, it actually tastes very nice. Powerplant says, I also don't really ever drink liquor or have any vices. So although I'm on a tight budget, when I splash out, I can't get, I think it's all right. I think it's fine. Good morning to you, Mom. Anton says, normally Kaiserschmarrn is made from scratch. Takes like 20 minutes total. Look it up on YouTube to get, there's actually, I got 4 different recipes or 4 different videos linked down below. There's one from DW, the news organization, with this very fancy Austrian chef that does it a very, very nice way. There is Chef John from Food Wishes, his version of it. There is also Wolfgang Puck. I have his version of that on there as well. And then my name is Anton, which is this guy from Germany, young kid, but he does a lot of cooking videos. I really like his cooking videos. I think he's really worth watching. Really interesting, entertaining. And he's the guy that I got the information about the peasant origin story for this rather than the royal imperial origin story, which is very nice. George Brightman's here with us. How about using, whenever I do that, it's because the chat jumps and it jumps up and how about using powdered sugar and some water to make a glaze? Drip it over your plate of yesterday's breakfast. Oh, that sounds good to me too, man. Powerplant says, I'd rather make bread pudding. Oh, saving for roof replacement. Oh my, that's a lot. Anton says, now you have to try to make it properly too. You don't need to do it on video. Just do it the next time. Oh yeah, actually, if I did it myself, we're doing it this way so that it gives us more ability to do. It gives us the ability to do more content. Because maybe next time we can make it, but the other way, the more traditional way, or the more accurate way. And we won't necessarily be repeating our content. Well, this is how YouTubing thinks, right? Powerplant says, I have the opposite of impulse control problems. And Anton says, I recommend putting the raisin in the dough once the bottom has started hardening in the pan. That's what Anton did in his video. I've seen in some of the videos I've seen, I've just seen both ways, but I was like, oh, well, this one, of course, we did it because you can't put it in the batter; it's already too late. But I am liking this, man. The flavor of the raisin and the rum gives it a little bit of a twist too. I have to try it next time with the plums. Power says, I'm more of a waffle person myself. I'm very particular about the waffles. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm particular, but I'm not particular. Like, I will go and have Waffle House waffles and be very, very pleased. And then I'll go to have the Belgian waffles, the small ones that are like this, that have the sugar like caramelized on top. I love those. And then I'll go to like another diner place and they'll have the waffles. But what I really want, man, what I really, really want of waffles is for them to be hot, like hot, hot, hot. And I want to be able to like put softened butter on it. And the softened butter is so hot that the softened butter melts into the little like cups. And then you pour the syrup. So the syrup and the butter mixes in the cups. And you're like, and it's crispy. Oh, God. When I go to a place that makes waffles like that, God, that to me is like the ultimate in American waffles. Like the ultimate. Like that's all that I ever want. But the other waffle is really good. Actually, I just want it to be hot enough so that the butter melts. Anything. Like, and what I also don't like is I wish like restaurants and places would like soften their butter. Leave the butter out. I don't care if it's like soft. I want it to be soft. What I don't want it to be refrigerated and hard, right? Like I will take pats of butter, like the ones that are wrapped with pats of butter. Like if I'm in a if I go to like a diner or something, and they give the little plate of butter, I will put them in my armpits and sit it there for a few minutes to soften. You get that body heat to soften that up, and then you, like like Anton, I just don't. I mean, like just like power plant, I just don't care. I'm like, I don't care what people think. Why is that guy putting? They say, Mom, why is that man putting like butter in his armpits? Son, don't look at that man. He's one of those people. Anton says you can also put a bit of rum in the dough. Ooh, all right. Powerplant says, have you tried to make coffee with tea? It's dog easy. I haven't made that in years. Gosh, I might have to do that again. With peaches or cherries or plum is excellent. Nice. Yeah, gosh, it's been a long time. Gosh, maybe like 15, 20 years. Charlotte says, I like blueberry waffles at Waffle House. Oh, I haven't tried those. I'm really kind of like I know I'm eating this and I'm really enjoying it, but typically I'm not a pancake with stuff in it person. I'm not a waffle with stuff in it person. Like I want the purity of the waffle. Now this one is fine because Kaiserschmarrn is meant to be had with raisins. But if I was ordering pancakes at a restaurant, yeah, I don't like anything in it. I just want the pancake because I want to taste the purity of the pancake, and I want a very particular type of pancake. Like there's this place we used to go to. One of my top baristas left at many years ago, and she went to go work for another place, this restaurant, to start their coffee program, which is great. I'm happy when members of my team move on to better things, right? I'm always very excited about that. So the chef there, Kiko, who's actually still around the area, she made this recipe of pancakes, and man, when I tried them, I was like, this is the pancake that I love. Like this is the pancake. For me, the perfect amount of softness and loft and like resilience and moisture and crisp, like just a little bit of crisp. And the best thing was that, my former barista worked there, so the coffee was top notch. So I get top notch coffee, top notch pancakes. God, what else can you ask for? Like it was like heavenly. So, but all that changed, and chefs come and go. And here's my predicament. I run into this every once in a while. I should have made a 12-ounce Americano, but now I didn't, so I made a 6-ounce Americano. And now I am faced with the task of trying to find out how to stretch for this. This is the conundrum, right? How do I stretch this to last this? I can no longer indulge myself at the level that I've been doing it, because now I have to have a frugality of coffee. And that's when disappointment sets in. You're like, oh, come on, man. Like I had that when I went to that place in the Philippines. What's it called? In Cebu. I was in Cebu. Ordered some Basque cheesecake and Tim Wendelbo coffee. Great combination. Both items were excellent. But I had this teeny tiny serving. I was like, you can see my dilemma in the video. Tightrope. I think it was called tightrope coffee. Anton says, I like watching the fights. It doesn't always happen. Or, only every other Thursday. Kieran says, my current vices are camera gear and coffee, but I've come to a point where I think that I'm pretty much set, although there are some lenses that I wouldn't. Are you more of a Nikon guy or Sony, Canon? I've been a Canon guy all my life until this modern era of YouTubing. Right, when I started doing YouTubing more heavily in 2020, I bought a D60D. I bought a 60D many years ago, and you tried to use that, and then I just never did. I just never did it enough. And then finally, when I got to 2020, I found a used M50, and I started using that, and which is actually a really nice camera. I really like the M50. I still have it. I sold the D60 to get the M50, or 60D to get the M50. And there's some things I just don't like about it for video use, right? And then in 2020, that's when the ZV-1 came out from Sony. And I was like, man, that's hyper compelling, compact. It's got so many features that are really geared towards video production. And so I bought that, and then eventually I became pretty much all Sony now. So I've got 2 ZV-1s. I've got the ZV-E10, which is what you're seeing me on now. This is the A6000 up here. And the greatest shame is that I've got an FX30, which is their smallest cinema camera that I bought a couple of years ago. And I was like, yeah, I got a cinema camera. I've got to rig it up. I got a full rig. Like if you see it rigged up, you're like, damn, this guy is like serious about making videos. And I never use it. It's terrible. I almost sold it last week at this sales event. I was like, I should probably sell it. Get rid of that thing. I'm not using it. But Sony, I think, for at least in the video realm, I mean, it was really much more compelling. I haven't seen anything really in Canon that was as compelling. And really, like I was talking to a buddy of mine who's actually a Sony representative now. And of all the cameras that Sony has, they still haven't made a true replacement to the ZV-1. They have a ZV-1 version 2, which I think is a little bit hampered, right? Instead of having, so the original ZV-1 has a 28 to 70 millimeter equivalent zoom. And everybody complained about the 28 millimeter. They're like, oh, it's too narrow for like vlogging. I'm like, it's a little bit tight for vlogging, but I don't necessarily need it to be wide. And they changed it to like 22 millimeters to 50 millimeters. I was like, if you had gone 22 to 70, okay, I'd be interested. Or if you found a way, but if you go from 22 to 50, I'm like, 50, I need more reach. I don't necessarily need to have more width as much as I want more reach, right? And I think they even changed. The original one was 1.8 widest aperture. I think the new one has less aperture range. I think. I can't remember. I just saw a couple of the specs when it came out a couple of years back, and I was like, that camera's not for me. Kieran says Thai street food roti is great with egg and banana in it with a thin layer of condensed milk. Ooh, that sounds good too. Gosh. Papa says in Singapore, I ate paratha like once a week. I have not had that. That sounds very nice. M0 says, wow, super official shirt today. Look, thank you. All shirts have a place for pens. Yeah, that's what I like the most about these chef jackets is that the pens are usually here on the sleeve. I like this position because, you know, I don't know how that evolved, but man, to have the pen at the ready is always nice. I used to keep like thermometers in them, but I don't use this one. Actually, I didn't keep thermometers because this is actually one I used as a barista shirt, so I didn't really have to carry a thermometer. But the white ones normally have a thermometer in them. Actually, mostly it has a thermometer, not usually a pen. But more importantly, it had the Sharpie. The Sharpie is much more important. To me, the Sharpie is much more important than the pen. Like if you don't have a Sharpie, man, you're kind of in trouble. Kelly says, Leica, Jason gave me an M11 with, oh my God. Way to flex there. Kelly. Way to flex. I was actually looking at the Leica. Was that when they had this event last weekend that my friend was there for, the Sony rep. He was showing me the RX1, which is supposed to be the answer, Sony's answer to the Leica. And I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. How much is this? He's like, 5,600. 5,600. I can't afford that. Can't afford those things. I could afford those things, but I couldn't afford anything else. Like a place to live. M0 says, I meant it. I would wear that regularly. Oh, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. Powerplant says, paratha are a type of fried bread in which the dough is pulled out super thin, then folded together into about 10 of a disc. Oh, gosh, that sounds great. Then fried in ghee. Oh, man. I wonder if they had that somewhere here, like maybe in Rockville. They might have some place that does it. I'll have to look it up. That sounds good. Like there's some great like foods. Like when you were talking earlier about the roll, I was thinking, it made me think of the Ugandan Rolex. They have this thing called roll. I don't know why, because they're rolling it. It's like it's basically using a chapati because there's a lot of like Indian immigration to Uganda. That's part of the whole culture there now. And so they've got, I think you take chapati and eggs and like some kind of like bacon or meat and maybe some vegetables and you cook it and then you roll it up. Man, when I'm in Kampala, man, I am tearing that up. I'm just like, I'm tearing that up. When my friend, when she first introduced me to it, I was like, what? Rolex. Then I had one. I was like, oh, that's good. Because I love the chapati, right? I don't know if they put a ghee in it or whatever, but man, the chapati, there's something that I like about the chapati better than the naan. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll tear up some naan, but man, the chapati, gosh, so nice. So nice. Harplan says, you can watch mesmerizing video online with a cook's. All right, I'll have to look that. So paratha or roti canal or chanai. Okay, gotcha. In Singapore, it's paratha, and in Malaysia, it's called roti canal. How could I have been in Singapore and Malaysia and not have had that? My friends have cheated me. Trying to manage to save the last coffee. Which I should probably. All right, Anton, that was good. It was good. Great suggestion. Thank you. My only disappointment is that I only had 2 pancakes to make this out of. Next time, I'm going to make 4. Then I'll have a mound. And then I'm going to make a big coffee. And then I'm just going to sit there watching YouTube videos on paratha. M0 says, everybody have a wonderful day and weekend and week. Good to see you. Good to see you, Ben. Good to see you as well. Prabhupada says, in those regions of Southeast Asia, they have a lot of tamils. Oh, really? Tamil food is awesome. Yeah, I don't really know if I've had tamil kind of food. I have to look that up more. All right, well, we finished the Kaiserschmarrn. Oh, by the way, that's one thing. As Anton was saying, Kaiserschmarrn, Schmarrn, Kaiserschmarrn, which means Kaiser's nonsense, may not have been the actual original thing. So if we actually go back to the whole story of going as a peasant food, it could be Kaiserschmarrn, which is instead of Kaiser, Kaiser, Kaiser of Kaiser, it's Kaser, Kaser, which has its roots evidently in the Roman casa or Spanish casa, house. So the house nonsense or the house mess could be how it really started. And then as Emperor Franz Joseph started to eat it and like it and want to have it more, it just evolved from Kaiserschmarrn to Kaiserschmarrn. So I think could be. Have a look at those videos down below. I think you'll enjoy them. There's a nice little range of stuff there to kind of cover all of these Kaiserschmarrn versions. Viva says, I'm sipping on a good coffee I got from Lost Suck Roasters in DC the other week. Super fruity. Oh, nice. And Anton says, for your appetite, I recommend a serving with 3 eggs. You will need a large pan. All right. All right. 3 eggs. 3 eggs, 3 pancakes. We'll try it out. And a large pan. Plan says, food history is great. Know of any other? No, I don't. It's one of those things that's like, if you ask me, toss me some factoids. I don't know. I don't know. It's like I'd say to my nephew, so how was school day? Good. What'd you learn today? Nothing. All this money your mom is paying for this school, and you're not learning a damn thing. Like Caesar salad? No, Caesar salad. I think Caesar salad is a Mexican invention, right? In Mexico City, is that right? Something like that. Anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. As always, good to see all of you. Be back again tomorrow, Thursday, which is November 13th. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I think we'll be back tomorrow. I got an event to do tomorrow night, but I think we could do the live stream and I won't be encroaching into my preparation for that event. So hope you have a wonderful day out there and see you next time.